Today we are going to make a 9-patch quilt using either a layer cake or fabric that you have in yardage that you've cut to size. It's super simple. The first thing you're going to do is prep your fabric. And so with this quilt, you can either use a layer cake that you already have, or you can use yardage that you have just kind of sitting around in your scrap bin, on your shelves, or whatever. So this will work great for fat quarters if you have them. But again, it works really well for layer cakes as well. If you are going to use a layer cake, the first thing you're going to do is cut this down to 9" by 9". I know it seems a little bit wasteful, but in the end, it's going to give you a better size to begin with, as well as when you start putting your blocks together, they'll go together so much better. A lot of times these are not perfectly 10" squares. They have pinking shears on the edges, and it's hard to line them up, and it can become confusing and waste a little bit of fabric and time. So the best option for you to do if you're starting off with a layer cake is to cut these to 9 by 9. If you're using fabric or yardage that you have from your shelves and your wonderful collection, you will want to start cutting these up into 9" by 9" squares. So I've already got my 9 together, and I'm going to grab my rotating cutting mat. I've got a link for this in the description. It makes cutting really easy and simple. You don't have to move the fabric, you just move the mat. So I have 2 pieces, and it doesn't matter if they're right sides up or down, just because all the pieces that we're going to be cutting are equal. But I'm going to lay them right sides up on my mat, and I'm going to cut these into 3" squares. So the first cut we're going to make, I'm going to line up my ruler with this left edge of the fabric, and I'm going to cut it 3 inches. I'm going to rotate the mat twice, so I'm on the opposite side, and I'm going to cut this 3 inches. Again, lining up my ruler with the left side. Now I'm going to just rotate this once. I'm going to line this up on the left side and cut at 3 inches again. When you're lining this up with the left side, you also want to watch the ruler on the bottom as well, and make sure that this bottom measurement on your ruler is straight with this edge as well. And you can see it is just shifting a little bit. So do your best to try to keep this all together. I'm going to push this back, line up my sides, and we're going to line up our left side to the 3" mark, as well as this bottom edge. Make sure that that's lined up, and cut 3 inches. Now these pieces are all equal, and it makes it super simple to continue. You're going to get 2 blocks out of this one cut, and what's going to happen is you are going to remove the top pieces of the corners, as well as that center, and then you're going to reach under here and grab that bottom piece and pull it to the new block. So they're not identical blocks. They use the same fabrics, but they're alternating. So this block has 4 of the light squares, and this block has 4 of the dark squares. This is what I've done in my quilt. I made 2 blocks that used the same fabric for each. If you want, you can stack up multiple pieces, say 4 fabrics, and then once you have your pieces cut, you can simply rotate them. So you would take this corner block and put the top piece to the bottom, and then move around, rotating some of the pieces so you get more of a scrappy block. Just to keep it simple for me, I just did the 2 blocks, but it would be really fun just to have it super scrappy. The next thing we're going to do is take these to the machine and start sewing them. Before sewing your rows together, you want to take these to the ironing board and press the seams. So for the top and the bottom rows, I've pressed the seams to the right. For the center row, I've pressed the seams to the left. It will make your sewing of the next part super simple. As you can see, these seams are opposite each other, so they'll butt up and nest right together, and you'll end up with perfect seams. Now you're going to line up the next ones, and if you need to, just go ahead and put these together and pin it in place prior to sewing, just to keep them secure and from shifting. You're just going to line up the edge and sew right along that. Now if you need to, you can go ahead and square these up, but that is how you're going to put together those simple 9-patch blocks using layer cakes or pre-cut squares that you have taken from your stash.